I think you guys will be notified. So thank you for joining us today. Today we will be reading from Billy Festorazzi's Freedom Man. Billy graduated from the University of Chichester after studying on the acting for film 3-year degree course, and acting and writing has been influential to him. They have helped him grow as an individual and have aided him in freeing his mind by allowing him to express emotion in performance as well as on paper. And yeah, I guess you guys can start whenever you feel ready.
Interior. Bile's house, kitchen, evening. Bile and Jen sit at the kitchen table at Bile's house. Bile's kitchen is old and grimy, but not covered in soot. Jen continues to cough up blood. Jen inspects Bile's arms and face. The inflammation has spread.
Your skin. I've seen that happen before, but I don't know what it is.
It is pellagra. It's caused by a lack of vitamins.
How do you know that?
Bile
You cannot stay in that house. You cannot stay in that burnt house. It's making you ill.
Where do you suggest I stay?
I'm sorry.
Jen continues to cough.
Coughing up blood, it is a sign of cancer.
I know, it runs in my family, but the suit is probably the main cause.
You need to see a doctor, my friend.
There are no doctors in this village. The only doctors in the whole of North Fichian live in the capital. And we're not privileged enough to live in the capital.
I'm not suggesting you go to the capital.
Jen stays silent.
It's all a lie.
Jen
I used to be an officer of the border control as well. I saw the men and women of South Fichian. They're well-dressed and well-fed.
Yes, I know.
We are starving, Jen. We're always hungry. I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Please stop talking about it. You're making it worse.
Bile stops talking. There is a silence.
What do you suggest we do?
I haven't suggested anything. I don't want to suggest anything.
We can't stay here forever, Jen. This is the worst I've seen the nation. And I fear it is only going to get worse. I spent many years as an officer at the border, but I was too cowardly to escape. This is my biggest regret.
Jen stays silent.
Those reconciliation centers, they are not places of love like they suggest. They are places of torture, plague, and death.
Jen continues to stay silent.
I need to show you something, Jen. Follow me.
Bile leaves the kitchen table. Jen hesitantly follows. They both walk into the living room of Bile's house. Interior, living room, evening. The living room is also old and grimy. A portrait of President Zam Vin takes up a majority of the wall. Underneath the portrait is a table full of papers.
Wait here.
Bile begins searching through a cupboard beneath an old TV. Jen takes notice of a small notepad with only a few pieces of paper left and a pen. He takes both items and places it into his pocket without Bile noticing. Bile has finished searching. He clutches a set of films.
These films from the South, but one.
Bile presents a film.
One is a documentary about the history of the South. It is rich and the people are free. A man can eat as much food as he wants. There are no rations. He can even order food to their home by clicking a button.
Jin shakes his head with disbelief.
There are also many more nations. There are at least 250 countries, maybe even more.
No, I do not believe that.
It is true. Tomorrow you must watch it with me.
I will not watch that film, Bao,
But why?
because it's all lies.
Bao stares at Jin.
Stop
with
it,
anger.
Jin. Stop it, Jin. You have seen the men and women from the South.
I have not seen anything.
Jin closes his eyes in stress. He puts his hand on his ears.
Jin, you have to open your eyes. I know you have to, but you need to open your ears.
Jin removes his hands from his ears.
We both know that we need to escape and start anew in the South.
Jin thinks carefully. He looks at the portrait of his president.
No, I'm no longer a traitor who breaks national curfew. I'm a proud citizen of North Faichin. I'm loyal to my dear leader, President Xuan Vin.
Bao looks at Jin with disgust.
Get out.
Interior, Jin's house, hallway, evening. Jin walks into the hallway of his house dressed in his officer uniform. Ayaka looks excited to see him. She wraps her arms around him.
Our dear leader has sent us food.
Jin looks at Ayaka with surprise.
Really?
Yes, come into the kitchen. I will show you.
Ayaka grabs Jin's hand and escorts him to the kitchen. Interior, kitchen, evening. The teddy bear is placed on a seat at the kitchen table. There is a plastic box containing a small amount of food items.
I didn't want to open it. I wanted to surprise you. You may open it.
Jin opens the box. Ayaka watches with excitement. He opens the box. The stench is foul. It causes him to vomit. Ayaka holds her nose to cover the stench.
What food is in there?
Ayaka attempts to open the box.
Don't. It's no good.
Well, there must be something in there.
Ayaka takes the food item out of the box. It is a rotten fish head. Ayaka begins to gag, but keeps her composure.
See? This looks good enough to eat.
Put that down now.
What?
Put it down. Throw it away. It will make both of us sick. Do you not understand that?
Ayaka begins to cry. Jin appears sympathetic.
My love.
Ayaka gains her composure.
Yes, you're right. We cannot eat this.
Ayaka throws the rotten fish head into the bin.
We'll see what else is in there.
Ayaka delves deeper into the box. She finds a small loaf of moldy bread, presented it to Jin.
What about this?
No, my love. It's moldy.
Ayaka sighs.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Ayaka throws the moldy loaf of bread into the bin. Ayaka continues to search the box. She finds a suspicious transparent box of meat, which is severely rotten. Ayaka and Jin look at it with disgust. She throws it into the bin without hesitation. She continues to search the box. She finds a small, transparent bag of white rice.
What about this, my love?
Jin looks at the see-through bag of rice.
Wow, that looks safe.
Ayaka looks at Jin adoringly.
Our dear leader has sent us food.
Yes, he has, my love.
Ayaka and Jin embrace.
I'll clean this up.
Jin gestures toward the vomit.
Yes, my love. And please take the bin out. It smells.
Ayaka is excited. She jumps with joy and immediately grabs the bag of rice and places it onto the kitchen counter. She searches the cupboard for a saucepan as Jin begins to clean up the vomit with the dustpan.
We cannot have all of the rice. We need to make it last for 2 weeks.
Yes, of course, my love.
Ayaka smiles at Jin. Interior, Jin's house. Kitchen, evening. Ayaka and Jin eat the cooked white rice at the kitchen table. The teddy bear also sits in a chair. The see-through bag of rice is still on the kitchen counter.
How was work?
Jin stops eating his white rice. He looks surprised.
All these years I've worked for the Border Patrol, and you have never once asked me how my shift was. Why?
You have to face your enemy, the men who disgrace our beloved nation. I never wanted to ask because I thought it upset you.
It doesn't upset me.
Why?
Jin thinks, but he does not answer.
My love?
I've grown numb, Ayaka.
Oh. But, my love, you cannot grow numb. You must fear your enemy, for they are guilty of insulting our beloved nation and leader.
Jin does not answer. He continues to eat his rice.
My love, I lost my job for you.
Jin stops eating. He looks at Ayaka with annoyance.
You know it's true. The authorities said that if I were to leave you, I could keep my job as a teacher. They said that if I stayed married to you, I would therefore be considered a traitor who is not fit to raise our nation's children. I stayed married for you because I love you.
I love you too.
So please, my love, you cannot grow numb to your enemy. You must realize they are vermin and you must fight them if you must.
Yes. I will stay strong for my beloved nation.
Thank you, my love.
Ayaka begins to spoon feed the teddy bear with the cooked rice, causing Jin to look guilty. Interior, Jin's house, living room, evening. Jin walks into the living room of his house, where Ayaka carries the teddy bear. She stares at the portrait of President Zan Ven with love.
My love.
Isn't he beautiful?
Jin looks at the portrait of the president.
We're so lucky to have him as our dear leader. Aren't we, Emmy?
Ayaka turns to the teddy bear. She kisses the teddy bear on the forehead.
We need to go. We need to see a doctor.
Ayaka turns to face Jin.
We cannot go to the capital. We're too weak. We both are.
I'm not suggesting we go to the capital.
But that is where the only doctors are.
No, there's somewhere else we can go.
Where?
Jin hesitates.
To the south.
Why would we go to the south?
Because it's the only way.
No, it's not. They do not have doctors. They have nothing. And even if those southern bastards did have freedom, why would we go to the south? They are traitors. And they would make us traitors to step foot on their soil.
My love, I need to tell you something.
What?
I've seen the men from the south. Everything we've been told,
What?
well, it's all lies.
Ayaka looks at Jin with surprise.
They are well-fed and well-armed. They live lives of privilege and freedom.
No. That can't be true. They're poor. They're starving. Our dear leader says so.
Jin grabs Ayaka.
Ayaka, snap out of it.
Ayaka stares deep into Jin's eyes.
We are starving. We're close to death. We're miserable. You know we are.
We are privileged compared to the South and every other country in the world. You must appreciate our dear leader's sacrifice.
Sacrifice? What sacrifice? He eats steak. He drinks the most luxurious red wine, whilst we have to eat grass. We have no medicine. We have to live in a shitty, burnt house without a front door. Our house is crawling with rats. And I'm so hungry. Can you not see that we are living in poverty?
No, I don't believe you.
It's true.
There is a silence.
My love, I have seen everything. Val was right. It's all lies.
Ayaka begins shaking her head. She puts her hands on her ears.
It's not lies. Our dear leader is a god. He is special. He gives us everything.
No, you have to believe me. Please, Ayaka.
It's lies. It's not lies. We are privileged.
Stop it. We need to go to the south.
We can't. Stop it. Stop it. You're being a traitor. You're upsetting Emmy.
Jin looks toward the teddy bear.
Ayaka. Emmy is dead.
What?
Jin looks defeated. He holds in tears.
She's dead.
No, she isn't. Why would you even joke about that? She's right here.
Ayaka gestures toward the teddy bear.
She died in a fire.
No, she isn't dead.
She was dead. She was burned alive. I saw it all. You were there, remember? I broke curfew trying to rescue her. You were not punished because you rescued the portrait, remember?
You're a liar.
How am I lying? That is a teddy bear, not our daughter.
Ayaka stares at Jin with astonishment.
Do you really think that our dear leader would let our daughter die?
What?
Our dear leader would not let our daughter die in a fire. That would be cruel of him. And our dear leader is never cruel. He's only kind.
Our leader is a bastard.
He's not a bastard.
Ayaka slaps Jin in the face.
He is a god.
He is not a god. He's the devil.
Ayaka begins crying.
No, he isn't.
He is, and the north is hell. We need to get out of here now.
Stop! He can hear you!
He can't hear us. He has brainwashed all of us. He's made us believe that he is some sort of god when he is a weak, pathetic, selfish man who abuses his power. Can you not fucking see that?
He can hear you! You're a traitor!
Ayaka limps out of the kitchen. She drops the teddy bear to the floor. Jin stays in the living room. He looks up at the portrait of his president. Ayaka limps back into the living room, carrying the knife in her right hand.
Traitor.
Ayaka attempts to stab Jin. Jin dodges.
What the fuck are you doing?
You do not deserve to live! You traitor!
Ayaka swings for Jin with the knife. He ducks, causing her to accidentally cut the portrait of the president.
No. No. You made me do this!
Ayaka switched the knife into her left hand.
You made me hurt our dear leader!
Ayaka swings the large knife in her right hand, amputating it immediately. Jin falls to the floor in shock as blood squirts over him and the floor. She points the knife towards Jin.
I will kill you, traitor.
Ayaka jumps on top of Jin, carrying a knife in her left hand. Whilst blood pours from her amputated wrist, she begins trying to stab Jin. He grabs her wrist. There's a struggle, but after some time, Jin manages to succeed in curling her wrist. She diverts the knife into Ayaka's throat. Blood pours from her throat onto Jin. She falls on top of Jin and dies. Jin pushes Ayaka's dead body off of him. Her dead body lays beside him. Jin sits up against the burnt living room wall. He begins hyperventilating. He removes his officer's uniform as it's covered in mud, blood, and vomit. He's now wearing a grubby, loose button shirt. He looks up at the portrait of the president with fury. He grabs the butcher's knife and approaches the portrait.
You did this, you bastard.
Jin swipes at the president portrait, cutting a hole in the paper. He continues to swipe at the portrait. He drops the knife and begins to tear the portrait with his hands. He tears the left eye of the portrait, which reveals a very small button-sized camera. Jin's eyes wide. He falls to the floor. He quickly runs out of the living room and runs upstairs towards the bedroom. Interior, Sinzao Hospital. Recovery ward, evening. Jen wakes up in the recovery ward of a hospital. It is empty and clean. Jen immediately leaps up. He inspects his left hand, which is covered in bandages. He has a nasogastric tube. He begins inspecting the tube. A nurse approaches him.
You need to rest. You are very ill.
Where am I?
In the recovery ward, your hand was cut deeply.
What hospital?
The Genzo Hospital?
Am I in South by Chin?
Yes, of course you are.
Jen appears relieved.
Why do you ask?
No reason.
The nurse notices Jen's eyes.
Your eyes are much better.
What?
They were very yellow. You had jaundice and severe jaundice. Your bile duct was obstructed by gallstones and they were surgically removed.
Jen looks around the recovery ward with confusion.
We thought the cancer may have spread to your liver, but your liver is in a stable condition.
I have cancer?
Yes, unfortunately you do.
What cancer?
On stage 2 lung cancer, you may only have 5 years to live.
Jen sinks back into his hospital bed. He begins coughing.
That police are here to ask you some questions.
The nurse leaves. A police investigator walks into the recovery ward. Hello, sir? Jen does not answer. The police investigator takes a seat next to Jen's hospital bed. Now, I'm sure you have many questions, but I'd just like to assure you that you are safe.
Safe?
We could not find any DNA records of yours, but we know you are from the North. We know you are a refugee.
I'm not a refugee. I'm a defector.
Excuse me?
I'm a defector. The North does not let its people leave willingly.
Either way, you are safe. You will not have to worry about returning there.
So I have freedom?
Yes, you are free. Jen smiles. He breathes a deep sigh of relief.
I'm hungry, but not as hungry as before.
That is because of your feeding tube.
My what?
The feeding tube through your nose has kept you fed for the past couple of days, but they had to limit the amount they could feed you.
Why?
Because you have been starving for a long time. And if you were to eat much food, well, you could die, put it simply. Jen continues to inspect the tube. I'd like to ask you some questions. Jen turns toward the investigator. What is your name?
My name is Jin. Jin Sung.
Hello, Jen. Did you have any family in the North before you escaped?
No, my mother and father passed away years ago. I was a single man with no children.
Okay. When the police arrested you, you were armed with a knife covered in human blood. Could you please explain what happened?
Two men broke into my house. They tried to rob me of food I did not have. One of them was armed with that knife. I managed to disarm them. I just stabbed one of them in the scuffle. They both escaped. But I know that the one I stabbed will have died and I would have been punished severely. That's why I ran away, because I would have been punished for something which was not my fault.
I'm very sorry that happened to you. It seems with the ongoing food shortages in the North has led to these sort of incidents.
How do you know?
That's what many of the Northern defectors have to say.
You mean I'm not the only one?
No, of course not. There are at least 1,000 defectors in the South alone. Many of them have traveled elsewhere, most of them to the USA,
The what?
the United States of America.
Oh, um, do they have freedom in the United States of America?
For now, the investigator smiles. So, another question here, Jen. Where did you live in Fairchild? Did you live in a city, a town, or maybe a village?
Why do you ask?
These are the questions which the re-education facility has written down for you.
Re-education?
It's not like the camp is in the north, my friend. These are not not places of punishment. Jen, the purpose of these re-education facilities is to prepare you to adjust to life in the South. Jen stays silent. Over the next couple of months, you may experience what's called a culture shock. There are certain privileges in the South which you may have never experienced. The differences in technology and day-to-day life may be overwhelming for you. Therefore, when you need to attend the education facilities to prepare for what's to come. Jin nods his head. He appears calm.
I lived in a small village. I was a border patrol officer. That's all there is to know about me.
Okay. I shall pass this information on to the facility. Thank you for answering these questions, Jin. I believe you are entitled to a few more days of rest here before moving into your new house.
New housing?
Yes, defectors are given free housing for a time. They are then re-educated and equipped with a suitable job. When they come, where they can pay off their mortgage for the house over a period of time. That is all, my friend. I shall take my leave. Somebody from the government should be in touch with you soon. Best of luck, Jen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure. The investigator leaves. Jen sinks into his hospital bed and falls asleep. Interior, Zenzao Hospital, recovery ward, morning. Jin wakes up in the hospital. Sitting next to him is Jiang Jin. Jin looks at Jiang with surprise.
Freedom Man.
My name is Young.
Kyung, you saved me.
I didn't save you, my friend.
You did. I was very close to starving, but you gave me food. You're a hero.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
How did you find me?
You made it onto the news. Somebody filmed you being arrested and published it. Here, I'll show you.
Jiang takes out his phone. Jin stares at the phone with intrigue. Jiang shows a news article to Jin. It reads, North Fachin refugee arrested in Zenzhou. This annoys Jin.
They're calling me a refugee. I'm not a refugee, I'm a defector.
The article says you were taken to a hospital for your injuries. That's how I found you.
What's that device?
Jiang presents the phone to Jin.
It's a mobile phone.
Oh, so you can call your friends and family with this? We have phones, but they do not have screens.
Yes, but what you have is just a regular telephone. This is a new technology. Well, kind of new anyway. This can do pretty much anything. You can play music, watch videos, message and call your friends. You can even ask your phone any question you would like. Here, watch this. Ask a question when I put my thumb up.
Jiang holds his phone to his mouth.
Hey, Siri?
Siri activates on Jiang's phone. Jiang holds his thumb up in the air.
Can you show me a picture of the map of the world?
Jiang's phone researches images of the world map.
Here are some pictures of the map of the world from the web. Take a look.
Jiang selects a specific image showing the entire world map, including North and South Fuxing. He hands over his phone to Jin, who stares deeply at the photo.
We were never told how big the world was. We were isolated, and we were told that other countries were less fortunate than us. We were told that the South was the worst of all countries, but I knew that nothing could be worse than the North. So I took my chance. I made a daring escape. I hid in many bushes to avoid the officers from the North and the South. And when I jumped out of one of those bushes, I saw that big tower with its bright lights, and I knew that was everything I'd ever been told was a lie.
You saw the Freedom Tower.
Yes, and it set me free.
But the Freedom Tower is 600 meters tall. I thought you would have been able to see its bright lights from anywhere.
There was a national curfew in the evening. I never understood the meaning of this curfew, but now I know that it was to stop us from seeing the lights of the South, to stop us from seeing freedom. When the national curfew first started, the authorities would patrol our small village to make sure nobody left the house. After a while, the authorities left. It was because they trusted us. They knew that if somebody was to break curfew, that person would be snitched down by their neighbors. That was the scariest thing about living in the North. Neighbors who should be on your side, who should see through the lies of the regime. They were willing to betray you, to stab you in the back for their dear leader's admiration. Your biggest enemies were not the police, not the government, not even your supposedly supreme leader, but it was your friends and family, for they were indoctrinated into betraying you for what they believed was for the greater good. That was the scariest part of living in the North.
It's a good reason to leave. I've heard stories about the North. It's crazy that something like this could happen in the 21st century. Were you raised to believe in God?
As a child, I heard rumors about God and the teachings of Christianity, but to us, they were just rumors. This is because our God was our president and we were made to worship only him. Religion was almost unheard of, but I know more than the average person, and I know that those who do express their knowledge about the teachings of Christianity or any other religion are strictly punished. For that is considered treason to the only man we should have worshipped, our supposed God of a president, President Xuan Vin.
I ask because that might be why all of the atrocities committed by the North against its own people is allowed to happen and go unpunished. Because the men and women of the North have forgotten their religious values, their forgiveness and virtue. They've forgotten God. That's why all this is happening.
No, that's not true. If there is a God, none of this would ever happen to begin with. There would be no bastard dictator or president. There would be no starvation, no violence, and no death or disease. I wouldn't be here now, Kyung. I have lung cancer. I've been told that I can expect to live another 5 years, but that's all.
Jiang nearly sheds tears. He keeps his composure. Jin places a hand on Jiang's shoulder.
But 5 years in freedom is worth more than a lifetime under a dictatorship. I'm free, and I do not have some God to thank for it. I have you. You're a hero. Thank you.
Do not thank me, Jin. It was you who escaped. It took courage for you to leave. And the truth is, there may have been a reason why you were successful in escaping. Maybe God kept you alive for a reason, to put you on a mission, to bring the atrocities of the world of the North to the attention of the world. That's something to think about, Jin. Now, unfortunately, I have to go to work, but I'll give you my phone number.
Jiang writes his phone number on a piece of paper. He gives a piece of paper to Jin.
Goodbye, my friend. I shall give you a call soon.
Please do. Hopefully I see you soon.
Jiang and Jin embrace. Jiang leaves the recovery ward. Exterior, Zhenzhou Education Center. Car, morning, driving. Jiang parks just outside of the re-education center. In the passenger seat sits Jin. Interior, car, morning, stationary. Jin appears healthier. His skin and hair are cleaner. His clothes are presentable.
Here you are, my friend.
Jin looks at the education facility.
Are you nervous?
Yes, very nervous.
Why's that?
I am fully aware that my leader was a bastard, but the things which I have gone through, there are things which I can't even mention, not even to you. They may have scarred me too deeply. I fear that I may not adjust to life so easily.
You have to take it one step at a time. Over time, you will become accustomed to life in the South.
Jin appears nervous.
I think I need fresh air.
I'll come with you.
Jiang and Jin both leave the car. They stand outside the gates of the education facility. Exterior, Zhenzhou Education Center. Morning, continuous. Jin looks at the facility through the gates. He sees several staff members dressed in smart clothing. The facility seems peaceful.
How's your daughter?
I didn't have a daughter. I had a son.
Oh, but you said...
My girlfriend, Yumi, she believed we were having a girl. She claimed she could sense it. She was wrong. And now I have a beautiful baby boy.
What's his name?
Jay. I have a picture of him. Here, I'll show you.
Jiang takes out his mobile phone. He shows a picture of his newborn son, Jay, to Jin. Jin smiles.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much longer until I have to go in?
You have 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I have a question. I mean, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
What is it?
Was there ever a point where you could not see through the lies of the Northern regime?
Yes. We were educated to believe in their lies. But sometimes, depending on my financial situation or how hungry I was, I would fall out of love with our leader. But then my feelings would change and I would fall in love with him again. I occasionally believed he was some sort of god. I suppose when you were stuck with the bastard dictator for a president, you only can force yourself to love him or be forced to love him. Well, what do you do when you have a bastard dictator for a president?
We vote them out.
Oh,
Jin musters a slight laugh.
that was not possible in the North. We were not even allowed to criticize our dear leader, no matter how dire our circumstances. We would get in trouble, mainly because our neighbors or family members would snitch on us. So our circumstances would never improve because people could not speak up against the continuous failings of our government. Words and ideas that should be debated in public are not even whispered in private.
Jin stares at the ground ashamed.
I have something to tell you.
What's that?
My grandfather is a Northern defector. I'd like you to meet him.
I would appreciate that very much, my friend.
I have one more question, Jin.
Go ahead.
How many citizens from the North do you think follow President Ron Vin out of fear, compared to how many follow him willingly because of love? Is it 50% each, or is it, say, 10% follow him because of fear and 90% follow him because they want to? What's the percentage? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll never know. Hopefully the regime is crushed and the people of North Faichin obtain their freedom.
Okay.
Jiang looks at his watch.
It's been 2 minutes, Jin. You have to go in now. I'll pick you up when you finish.
Thank you, my friend.
Jiang and Jim embrace. Jin opens the gate to the re-education center. He walks into the front doors of the building. The doors shut behind him. Fade to white.
Good job, guys. It was really great. Thank you so much for coming to this pre-recording earlier. You guys are more than welcome to join the workshop tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. You guys all did a really great job, and thank you for sticking it out.